Well, hi, I'm Rob Landis, and Testimony House came to me and asked me to give my testimony, so I guess here it goes. Back in 2008, uh, I was kind of living a life that is not what we call as a Christian a good life. I was drinking and partying and smoking and running around. Everything was about the stuff and making the dollar, and I was running my own business. Then I'm a plumber, and I owned a sewer and drain cleaning company since 1997. And anyway, long story short, my day was surprised of going to work, coming home from work, head to the bar. And there was a guy at the bar, his name was Mike Lawton, that had worked on me for years to talk to me about the love of Jesus Christ. And what he would do is just constantly say to me, Rob, he says, have you ever given your life to the Lord? And I go, no, I haven't, Mike. And he says, I know there is a God, but I've never given my life to the Lord. He goes, well, you really ought to think about giving your life to the Lord. Yeah. I hear you, Mike. So this went on for years up till about 2008 when I got a call from my mom. She lives in Philadelphia. I'm born and raised Philadelphia, and my grandmother was dying. And she had a torn aorta in her heart, and she was 92. She was a nurse all her life and did not want to be resuscitated, so she had a do not resuscitate order. And my mom said, hey, this doesn't look good. You boys need to come. So we did. We flew out to Philadelphia, and what happened, this is kind of a long story. I'll try to make short, but each day that went on, when we went to visit my grandmother, she was in like I won't say comatose state, but she was not up and not talking. And we get there the first day, and we spent a couple, 3 hours with her, and no, she really wasn't responding. And the day two came, and she wasn't really responding that day as well. And so day three, we took a little bit longer to get ready that day. We actually went out for breakfast, and then get there at 11:30, and then the next day it was like 12, 1 o'clock. We stayed around the house, and on a Friday afternoon, after being there almost that whole week, we got there like Sunday night, first saw her, and on Friday, my brother and I just woke up, and we had rented a car from the airport, and the car just kind of sat there other than going back and forth to seeing Grandma. But anyway, she said, my brother and I said, we got to get to the hospital. And he was like, yeah, I know. And it was just weird, but we didn't stop for coffee. We were stopping at Dunkin' Donuts every morning, getting coffee and a roll or something, and heading to the hospital. We just booked right there to the hospital. Almost was like jog running up to her room, and we didn't have a clue why that was. It just was. We opened the door, and there's my grandmother sitting out of her bed with a tray in front of her, eating an orange. And she looked up and saw us, and she goes, oh boy, she says, you guys look great. Of course, we just had haircuts, and we're coming because we know we're burying our grandma soon. And there really was no hope, at least, what the doctors were saying. All right, so we saw Grandma, and we said, how was breakfast? She goes, oh, it was horrible except for this orange. Here's this little 92-year-old woman. She's not even 5 foot tall. It's like my mama. She's 5'1" or something. But anyway, so we go, well, you feeling okay, Grandma? She goes, oh, I'm just kind of tired. And I go, yeah, I can understand that with this problem you've got. And she goes, yeah. She goes, well, I think I better get back in bed. And so she got up from that chair, and we walked her, and we got her to get into the bed. And she says, now, do you boys know how to scoot a patient up? And she goes, I got to get in there, and then 1, 2, 3, scoot. And I said, okay, Grandma, we can figure that out. So she gets in the bed and get her legs up there, and she goes, 1, 2, 3, scoot. And she goes, well, that's good, but I think I need to go one more time. So we go, okay, Grandma. And then 1, 2, 3, scoot. And all of a sudden, she chokes, her mouth opens, she started gurgling, and I freaked out. I ran out to look for a nurse. My brother was caught on the wall side of the bed, so he really couldn't get out of there. And all of a sudden, I'm looking for nurses, and they run in, and they push my brother out of the curtain and shut it, and I just fell to my knees. And I said, oh my gosh, Lord, I said, don't let her have any pain or whatever. And He says, she's not feeling any more pain. And this was for you. That was, I heard audibly from the Lord said, and this was for you. He gave us that opportunity to have a true connection and to say goodbye. And at that time, I felt the Spirit on me. I didn't know why, but as I returned back to St. Louis, kind of back in my same patterns, went back to the bar, and there was my buddy Mike Lawton again saying, he says, I talked to him about it, told him my story, and he confirmed. He said, that was the Holy Spirit. He said, he revealed himself, or God revealed himself to you. And I said, yeah, I heard it audibly. So at that point, I just started, all of a sudden, I started going to this Bible studies called Ministry to Men, and I started going to these Bible studies. And then I would say within 3 weeks after that, I went up to Ben Blanton at Blanton Construction's office, and with this guy named Tim Rabbit and my friend Mike Lawton, they brought me to the Lord. Now then, I'm this guy that was on fire, man. So next thing you know, I'm going to First Christian Church in Florissant, and I'm not following any protocols. These people are like, you got to go to class to learn about Jesus, and then you got to go to class to learn about to be baptized. Oh, not me, and I'm not the smallest guy, so I was like day 3. The third week I was at that church. I'm going to get baptized. Today's baptism. And the pastor goes, yeah, we're going to get baptized. You going through no, I'm not going through the class. And so I'm out there and I'm pushing myself into the back, and I get they have these like white Kia, like Chinese karate suits, and this thing was just so small, and I'm not small. I mean, it was large. I'm just not large. I'm a little more than just large. So I'm squeezing this thing on me, and next thing you know, I'm getting baptized. I'm like, my pastor's freaked out. He's like, I'm forcing him to baptize me today. And it just didn't work that way at this church. So I get in there and I'm baptized, and I come out and I'm like, yeah, and I'm Rob, that's who I am. That's why we fit into Have Bible Travel so well, where people can just be people, So anyway, I get out of the baptism, and I'm going into the back, and guess what? A large suit that doesn't fit you normally, when it gets wet, really doesn't fit. So here I am, a freshly baptized new creature in Christ, is all I knew at the time, and I'm ripping the thing off of me. So here I am already. I haven't even been a member of this church yet, and I'm destroying church property. I ruined the thing, getting it off of me. It was pretty funny, but I have a couple of friends that have told that story too, and they get a kick out of it, so I thought I'd add it to this today. But, from there I just grown. I came to this church to Have Bible Travel. I started in BC's 12-step program. I got off the alcohol. I got off the drugs. I gave all my possessions to the Lord. And it's a process. Your walk with the Lord, it takes a lifetime to be made smooth, and you can't just immediately think everything's going to fall away from you. The bad or the evil that you've done in your life, there's always going to be consequences for some of your actions. There's always going to be, these desires that enter your mind. If you're an addictive personality, you just got to let it be a passing thought and nothing that you dwell upon. And you need the Lord to help you through those times, to where you're not falling prey to the evil side of life. And I say you got to go out and do the 3 things that God tells us to do: to love Him with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. The second is similar, to love your neighbor as yourself, and therefore go and make disciples. So that's what we're trying to do here at this church. And appreciate Testimony House coming in and allowing me to give my testimony today. And hope it's not too long or too garbed up here. I forgot all about it, honestly, which is a good thing, because I've had nothing prepared. It's just coming out off the hip, which is the way I do things the best. So anyway, I appreciate your time, and God bless everyone. And just, hey, one thing, remember, you don't have to have a testimony of heartache and doing all the wrong things, or having all the drugs and alcohol and the things that are bad for you in your life. You're a lot further ahead if you start off as a young person and get Jesus into your heart right away, and live a good life that way, because that's a great testimony as well. Some people might find that boring, but I kind of like that boring testimony. So for you young kids out there, the earlier you find Jesus and put him in your heart, the better off you're going to be. Thank you, everybody, and God bless.